out stuff slowly, and now the floor becomes uncovered. So now you get into space that wasn't checked for chametz, right? So if you didn't do it, worry about it, clean it. But lechatchila is brought down. You should search that area because you won't be able to search at night because chametz, and during Pesach, you end up using a lot of the stuff, and then it becomes if it stays covered the whole time a lot, theoretically you could say now it's covered, whatever it is. We're not going to the whole discussion about that, but the point is that on Pesach you're going to end up coming to a place that wasn't searched for chametz. So lechatchila, before you pile it up, you search for chametz the night before. This is lechatchila. If one didn't do it, it doesn't mean that that you're transgressing, but the lechatchila, that's how you should do it. Yeah.
You're getting packages for Pesach, and then you're not going to open them until
Let's see, you're getting delivery of fruits and vegetables. Let's say before Pesach, boxes of fruits.
Okay.
And you have on the porch, you have a space where you're gonna a room you're gonna stick it inside or whatever.
Okay.
Now you're piling it up. Comes night because chametz, you can't search there. It's impossible. You're saying search the night before. It's just a better way to do it. I guess you cover that space also. Because this year Erev Pesach is on Shabbos, so there's different halachas in regards to that, and we're going to discuss first in general halachas regarding Erev Pesach for regular year, and then we're going to discuss specifically for this year. So a regular Erev Pesach, we're not allowed after midday. We're not allowed to do certain types of work because Erev Pesach after midday, that's the time when the Jews brought the carbon Pesach. And whenever you bring a carbon, that's like your Yom Tov. So times the Beis Hamikdash, if someone brought their own individual sacrifice, that was their Yom Tov. Now, Erev Pesach is a time when all the Jewish people bring a carbon Pesach after midday. So that was a Yom Tov for everyone. Because it was a Yom Tov for everyone back then, the minhag remained that it's also Yom Tov for us. Yom Tov in the sense that you can't do malacha, you can't do certain types of malacha, certain types of work cannot be done. And it has a similarity to Chol Hamoed. Chol Hamoed, without going to all the details of Chol Hamoed now, but it's similar to Chol Hamoed. So, what are you not allowed to do after midday? You're not allowed to take haircuts. And any other type of work, like sewing, clothes, things like that, if it's not for the purpose of Yom Tov, you're not allowed to do. So if, let's say, you're sewing clothes, you're fixing up clothes, and you're doing it for Yom Tov, then you're allowed to do it. But if it's not for Yom Tov, you're not allowed. So we have a distinction between taking haircuts. Haircuts after midday is not allowed. But fixing clothes, you're not making brand new clothes. You're not sewing up new clothes. You're just fixing clothes that you need to be fixed, stitched up, whatever you need to do. And even if you're doing it professionally, which Chol Hamoed you can't do, but on Erev Pesach after midday, you're allowed to do any professional job, which is to fix clothing for Yom Tov. But haircuts you cannot do. But there is a catch. So you're allowed to fix clothes. Now this year Erev Pesach really is on a because it's on a Shabbos. So the Erev Pesach that we got Erev Shabbos. We feel it's like Erev Pesach, but it's not really Erev Pesach, right? But we're discussing in general on a regular year what's the halachos of Erev Pesach. Okay, so but even though we're saying on a regular year Erev Pesach, you're allowed to do work after midday, if it's for Yom Tov, but you're not allowed to make money. You're not allowed to charge for it. So if that's your parnasa, your livelihood, then you usually charge. You can't charge. But without charge, you're allowed to do it. Yeah.
Okay, can you
You get it done professionally, like what if you sent clothes in to get fixed and like you picked them up or face off, like from the seamstress? Like, can you do that? Like, can someone else be working on your clothes and you face for it or face off?
You think someone else would give it in for you?
Given, when you said professionally, like my mind went to like.
Okay, professionally
take it to
means,
a
when I say
seamstress.
professionally means, because sometimes people, let's say, have to sew up a button, things like that. Sewing a button, any amateur could sew a button. I mean, you have to know something with it.
Yeah.
But now you have to make a hem, you have to make you need to do it professional. So when it comes Chalamoid, it becomes an issue,
Okay.
even for Yom Tov. But Erev Pesach, again, this year, it's not shaykh the whole thing, but what you might know in general, a regular Erev Pesach, that on a regular Pesach, after midday, there's limitations. Yes, you're allowed to do it for the purpose of Yom Tov. And you can't charge any money for it. You can't make money. Just doing it for Yom Tov. That's it, not for money. But haircuts is not allowed. Cutting nails is allowed. But even cutting nails, again, it's all about a regular, not this year, but we're going to know about a regular Erev Pesach. So this year, the Erev Shabbos is a whole day, you can do whatever you want. But a regular year, you have to cut your nails, even though you can cut your nails after midday, but to start with, you want to cut your nails before midday. If you didn't, then you can cut after midday also.
So,
Yeah.
just clarify for myself. So because it's Erev Shabbos, we're allowed to do all these things?
It's not Erev Pesach. Erev Pesach on Shabbos. It has to do with Erev Pesach. Has to do with Erev Pesach, the 14th day of Nisan, which is the day that back then, the days the Jewish people brought the Pesach sacrifice, and that was a Yom Tov. And because it's a Yom Tov for them, the minig remains also now that it stays a Yom Tov. But this year is Erev Shabbos. It's nothing to do with, because we think about Erev Pesach, the day before the holy, the day before, it's Erev Shabbos, but it's not Erev Pesach. Also, on a regular Erev Pesach, when we daven, we skip Midmer L'Soida. There's a psalm, Kapitel Tilim, that we say in the davening after Baruch Shema, Mizmer L'Soida. It speaks about the Toida sacrifice, a special sacrifice, Thanksgiving sacrifice that people brought. If some Hashem saved them, they were taken out of jail. They went through the desert. They traveled overseas. They bring a special sacrifice, and those sacrifices was not brought on Erev Pesach because the sacrifice also entailed chametz sticker breads, and which means you're limiting the time of eating it because it's chametz, and you're not supposed to limit the time of something that has kedusha because it has holiness to it, and then it's going to be burnt. So therefore, they didn't bring a carbon toida on Erev Pesach. So Erev Pesach, we don't say Mizvah Seder. This year, what's going to feel like Erev Pesach, Erev Shabbos, you do say Mizvah Seder because it's not Erev Pesach. Now, when it comes to everything else in regards to burning the chametz, stopping to eat chametz, on a regular year Erev Pesach, we have to stop eating chametz by the end of the 4th hour. I actually have a handout, so I make copies of it. You can still send it down. Okay, if we need to, we'll do it later. You want, huh?
I thought you were about to do that.
No, I don't want to, maybe later. If anyone does anyone want to, I don't think this is the schedule of Erev Pesach in the morning, to when you can eat, to when you can benefit, to when you can burn. Saying if you feel, we spoke about this, if you feel it's necessary, we can make copies of it if you want.
I didn't take a picture.
Oh, absolutely. Cool picture. Oh, actually, one second. I have copies of it. Oh, I have.
Cool.
I do have a case of from previous years. Pass it around to everyone. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so if you see over here, yes, let's take a look at this. Okay, it's the old style. So you see over the night of 14, go to the right. We'll go right to left, top, right to left. Okay, there you dial night of 14, right? B'dikas chametz. This year we search chametz night of the 13th. So it says achila. Achila means eating. Mutzer, you're allowed to eat chametz. I just put everything there. We go straight. Start from the top box, right to left, go to the next box, okay? What does it say? Hano. Hano means benefit. Benefits from chametz, sure. Beer, destroying the chametz. Put X. You don't have to destroy the chametz yet. By X, meaning there's no. It's very tedious. Like the other things like this, the prohibition of Bayira Bayimatzah doesn't exist yet. You know what it means? Bayira Bayimatzah? Chametz should not be seen and to be found in your possession. That prohibition doesn't start yet. Then we go on. We don't have to go all the way to then because a lot of it is very simple. I just put everything in, so everything is there. Go to the next box. It's a little cut off there. The morning of the Yud Dalid Baboikin. You see the words Yud Dalid, the 14th Baboikin in the morning. Obviously, you're allowed to eat, you're allowed to benefit, blah, blah, blah. Third box. Okay, here's where it starts. Mishohei, the 5th hour. From the 5th hour, Osir. From the 5th hour, you're not allowed to eat chametz. It gets close to Pesach, you get the calendar. It's approximately this year, approximately 11 o'clock, around there. Starting the 5th hour, you're not allowed to eat chametz. Everything else is permitted. Now, go to the 6th hour. Next box, Mishavav. From the 6th hour, it's prohibited. See, it says Mishavav from the 6th hour. The 4th box from the top. From the 6th hour also, it's prohibited to eat chametz. And next, because all the way on, if you look, okay, now make sure you go to all the way to the top of the page for the moment. It says achila, eating, then hana, benefiting, beer, destroying, yeah. Then that chametz not be seen and found in your house. Right? Yeah. You get this? So now go back to the 4th box on the top. Now we're saying Mishavah from the 6th hour also is prohibited rabbinically. It's rabbinically because Minat Torah only starts from midday. From the Torah it's midday. Midrabanan it starts from the 6th hour you can't eat. Okay, we're going right to left. Asur midrabanan. What is the next box talking about? Oh, right? Yeah, is anyone following this? Mm-hmm. Benefit. You cannot benefit starting from the 6th hour, only from the 6th. If you look a box above, from the 5th hour, you're still allowed to benefit. So benefiting starts from the 6th hour. Next box, midrabanan. That what? What does it mean? What does the check mean? Yes, that you have to beer, right? So make sure you look from the top. Look on the top of the page so you know what we're talking about.
Beer.
Beer means destroying the chametz. You have to destroy the chametz starting from the 6th hour. That's rabbinically. Minatayna, you have to start burning chametz at midday. Rabbinically, you have to start from the 6th hour. Next one. So there's X. What's X? X is referring to the top of the page. It says chametz should not be seen or found. The prohibition of not having chametz in possession doesn't start until the night. Now go a little above, all the way to the left. So you see, I connected the 5th and the 6th together because what does it say there? It says Sereifas chametz, burning the chametz, bitul chametz, nullifying the chametz, koidim shavav should be before the 6th hour. So even though rabbinically the obligation to begin destroying chametz begins from the 6th hour, But the way we do it is that we burn the chametz and then we nullify the chametz before the 6th hour. And we already explained it in another class, so we're not going to go through that again. Then go all the way to the right, the 5th box on the top. Chatzos, midday, you're not allowed to eat. Yeah, we're moving right to left. Yeah, you clear? Asr, minatayna, you're not allowed to. Now we're discussing chatzos. Chatzos, everything is asr minatayna. You can't. You have to destroy. And okay, the rest is simple. The next box is the night of the 15th. What changes the night of the 15th? Then till now? That what? You go all the way to the end, all the way to the left, and there's a check there which tells you what? That now you transgress Menachamsi possession. So the obligation of destroying chametz is much earlier than the negative commandment that you can't have in your possession. That's why, by the way, we spoke about if chametz, let's say chametz falls into your Pesach food, and we said if it gets mixed up on Pesach, it doesn't come nullified, even a drop, right? We discussed that. Yeah, but that's only starting from the night of Pesach. Before the night of Pesach, it will become nullified, even though Erev Pesach you're still supposed to be destroying the chametz, but the negative commandment of not having chametz in possession only starts from the night of Pesach. So this stringency that if chametz gets mixed up into your food on Pesach, it doesn't become nullified, only starts from the night of Pesach. Okay, so all this, they have in the bottom. If you want to see what I wrote in the bottom, I think we explained this already. One of the things we didn't explain, that another way of destroying chametz is crumbling and throwing it to the air or into the sea, to the water. That's another way to destroy chametz. Yeah. Now, all this, what happens this year? This year, Erev Pesach is on Shabbos, and what we feel like, what feels like Erev Pesach, which is Erev Shabbos, is not really Erev Pesach. So does this all apply? All these rules when we destroy the chametz? So the answer is, when it comes to eating chametz, no, you can eat chametz all day. You can eat chametz until Shabbos morning, which is the 14th day, till the time you're allowed to eat chametz. But when it comes to destroying chametz, burning the chametz, that is the same like every single year. So when it comes, so we have here in the 3rd box, and we go all the way to the left, and it says, we burn the chametz, we nullify the chametz before the 6th hour, that we keep the same this year. Because if not, so now again, theoretically, according to what makes sense, when should we, in other words, let's step back for a moment. After we saw this whole thing, and we know this year Pesach on Shabbos, when would make sense this year that we should burn the chametz? If someone asks you what makes sense, when should be the time to burn the chametz? Logically, when? Friday. What? When? But when? What would make sense?
Same time.
No. Let's put this on the side.
So confused.
What-
I'm just glad that my husband will be doing this, and
What are you confused about? Which part?
Like a lot of stuff,
This thing over here?
a little bit,
Okay, which part?
okay.
We'll go over one part which is crucial. The 3rd box and the 3rd box down. Okay, what does it say about starting from the 5th hour? Starting from the 5th hour?
Which is before
Awesome.
Chatzos.
Right.
Chatzos is the 6th hour. Right?
Starting from the Chatzos is the beginning of the 7th hour.
Oh,
There's 12 hours a day. Starting from the 6th hour, that's not midday. Midday starts in the 7th hour. So if you look at the 3rd box from the top, it says from the 5th hour, it's Asr. By the way, it should say Asr Midrabanan, because it's rabbinically it's prohibited.
okay.
You put that in. So starting the 5th hour, you're not allowed to do what? Achila. Go to the top. It's a chart. You start from the top, right? You're not allowed to eat rabbinically.
Okay.
You move left. Mutter. You're allowed to benefit. You're still allowed to benefit.
Okay.
Now go to the 4th box from the top. all the way to the right, 4 boxes on the top. Starting from the 6th down, Mishavov, the 6th down, also it's prohibited rabbinically to do what? To eat. Right? Even from the 5th hour, you're not allowed. Then move left, also. Now, rabbinically, you're not allowed to benefit beginning from the 6th hour. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now go all the way to the left. Now you have what I wrote there that connects both parts, the 5th and 6th. The way we do it is Sreifas Chametz, we burn the Chametz, and then we do Bitul Chametz, we nullify the Chametz, Koidim Shava, before the 6th hour. That's how it's done, and we explained in another class why we do it that way. Right? So that's in a regular year. Now I'm asking, logically, this year, Erev Pesach is on Shabbos. So if you would have to just use logic, you got anything that I said before. Well, when would it make sense to now burn the Chametz on Erev Shabbos this year?
Between.
When? So till when could we eat chametz this year? Till Shabbos morning, till the 5th hour. It's if in the 5th hour you can't eat. And that's how it is. We eat because we daven early this year, Shabbos morning, so we could eat chametz.
But we're eating Pesach.
Right, so we're going to discuss that soon. Yeah, we're going to go through that. Yeah.
But we're
I'm saying-
burning everything before that. You're
Right, but
we
I'm
shouldn't
saying,
have it
what logically, when would it make sense to burn the chametz this year?
After the meal.
On Shabbos? Shabbos you can't burn.
Or like right before Shabbos starts.
Very good. Right before Shabbos starts. That's what makes sense. In our minds, logically, burn the chametz. Really, we should burn the chametz Shabbos morning if you're allowed. But you're not allowed. So right before Shabbos, then that's when you should burn it, right? The Chacham said, no, keep it the same. Why? What's the reason? It's going to confuse. People get confused with other years. So we said, keep it the same way. We're going to do it this year like that. Next year, chas v'shalom, God forbid, someone's going to, you know what it means? He's going to burn at the end of it. He's going to be not transgressing how it comes to this possession, but you're supposed to destroy the chametz. Comes the beginning of 6 now, we have an obligation to destroy the chametz. Okay, so Chacham said, leave it the same. Okay, so this is left the same. Eating is different. Eating because Chacham didn't want to impose when it comes to eating. And also Shabbos Friday night and Shabbos morning, there's an obligation to eat Suda Shabbos, so they tell people they can't eat chametz anymore. So they didn't want to be strict with that. And also those days, people didn't have so much to eat to start with. So to stop eating chametz the day before, and then also you can't eat matzah also. Erev Pesach in the morning, you can't eat matzah. Erev Pesach, when we don't eat matzah 30 days before, whatever. But anyways, eating Chacham kept the same.
How does
Okay?
that practically
Now,
work out?
huh?
How does that practically work out with like having, I just forgot my question.
Like how about stay on Shabbos.
Yeah,
right?
like, how is that supposed to work?
Okay, so I'm going to get to that. I'm getting to it. Now, when it comes to when it comes to selling the chametz, so the way it works is that the Rabbanim will sell the chametz in the morning, the same time. Some opinions say when it comes to selling, the Rabbanim could really sell it at the end of the day because they won't get confused. It's not something that's given over to everyone to burn, like burning chametz. Everyone does, can lead to confusion, but selling only the Rabbanim do. So some say the Rabbanim can even sell at the end of the day, but that's not the accepted practice. Rabbanim sell in the morning, but what some Rabbanim do is they stipulate with the non-Jew that the sale is beginning now, but it's not going totally into effect until right before Shabbos. And they put a specific time, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Why? Because the stores sell their chametz to the Rav, right? Now the stores are still open out of Shabbos, selling chametz because people are still buying challah from the bakeries. So what does it mean? You're selling the chametz to the non-Jew in the morning, so it's already sold, and the bakeries are still open. So they stipulate that it doesn't go into effect until before Shabbos. They set a time, like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever the time is. That's how many Rabbanim do. That's what the Rabbanim did it here years ago. This year we'll find out, but it's going to be pretty much. There are some that say that you can have the sale go into effect on Shabbos. You're selling now and it goes completely into effect on Shabbos. And everyone agrees to that because we don't do sales on Shabbos. So even though the sale is done before Shabbos, but it's stipulating it should go into effect on Shabbos. And some say, well, if you don't do sales on Shabbos, even that shouldn't be done. So many of them won't do it that way. Okay, so much for that. So now let's get down to the bottom line. Let's get down to the food now. Now, what do we do for the Friday night meal? So the house is Pesach, but we're still going to be eating chametz. Why? I don't want to eat. Let's say I don't eat chametz, but you have to eat Suda Shabbos. Suda Shabbos, you have to wash. You have to have a mitzvah. You have to have challah. You don't have an option. You have to. I mean, sometimes people don't eat challah because allergies or things like that, whatever. So they're not discussing that. Then they use sourdough bread, other stuff, whatever. But the point is, generally speaking, there's an obligation. You have to eat challah. So eat matzah, but matzah you're not allowed to eat Erev Pesach starting from the morning, according to halacha. And many Chabad we don't eat matzah, the shmur matzah 30 days before. So you have to eat challah, but the house is Pesachdik. So there's different ways how to do it.
What about the machine matzah?
The machine matzah, good question. What about, that's a very good question, because the machine matzah we don't use on Pesach. But the question is, so in general, machine matzah are very strict. We don't even give to children. Now, but in terms of it's not yet Pesach, so why can't we use it? It could be it's not proper because being that some people use it for the mitzvah. So you're referring to, let's distinguish between the nights. You bring a very good point. Let's distinguish between the night and the day. At night, you're technically allowed to eat shmura matzah still. It's not, we don't eat for 30 days. But the machine-made matzah, some people will still be, there's different ways that people keep this custom of 30 days. Some will not eat 30 days before Pesach, even a machine-made matzah, because being that technically some people do use it. The machine-made matzah is for the Seder too. We don't use it, but we don't claim that it's chametz. And when we don't claim that people who use it for the Seder are not doing the mitzvah, so being that the idea is that we normally use something that's used for the Seder 30 days before, so a lot of people will not use it for 30 days before Pesach, eat the machine-made matzah. Some will, but a lot won't. So it's like, it's not an ideal situation. So using challah, okay, so eating challah. So what's the challenge over here? Some people they get very nervous with it because it's challah in the house and what's going to be it's chametz. So firstly, you don't have to give it to little children. The real concern is with children. The children are going to eat it and make crumbs. So you don't give it to children. You just give it to those who are adults, those who are able to eat properly. And what I did when it was 4 years ago, we got plastic bags and we put exactly the amount. We bought small challah rolls, exactly the amount that each person eats, and each one had a bag, and you eat it inside the bag. You eat it from the bag. It's not the most pleasant way of eating, but once in 4 years, the next time it's going to happen is going to be 20 years. So it's not you get a break for 20 years. Yeah, you eat it inside the bag. Just don't put your head all the way inside. You still have to breathe. But you eat it from the bag, and everything goes into the bag. And then what I did was last year, I took all the bags and I went to the bathroom and I took all the bags and I emptied it out. And I spent 5 minutes, nice amount of time to take each bag and just checking out, make sure every crumb got into the toilet. Then you flush it. And then I took the bags and put it to the garbage. I speak to different people. A lot of people don't like this idea because they're concerned that they won't get every crumb out. And then if you don't get every crumb out, then what do you do? You can't flush a plastic bag. You're going to stuff up the toilet. And then you put it into your garbage can. I felt that I was able to get every crumb. I checked, I spent time. It was very tedious, but I spent time, like everything else, you spend time for Pesach. So you spend time making sure I checked and there was no crumb. I checked everything was out. And I took the plastic bags full and put it to my garbage. It's not chametz. But some people aren't comfortable with it, or they don't want to go through it. So someone told me this idea of using pita bread. Because pita bread is not soft, it's hard, so there's no crumbs. So you can just eat it totally and makes no crumbs. Fine, let it be pita bread. There is no mitzi pita bread, I think there is. It's both. So you get a mitzi. And then someone mentioned another idea, which is an interesting idea. Something called matzah ashira. Did we discuss it here this year? Matzah ashira? I think we did. We discussed it quickly.
Oh, yeah.
The rich matzah. There's the lechem aini, there's the matzah that says called lechem aini, poor bread, because there's only water in it. Then there's matzah shira, the rich matzah because it has juice in it, right? So matzah shira, we don't eat them. They have kosher pesach in the stores, but we're not supposed to be eating it. Only people who really need it. Generally, we're not supposed to eat it.
That's amazing.
Zaymus.
Oh.
Now, it's not chametz, and you can have it in your house on Pesach. And you can eat matzah shira up until the time you're allowed to eat chametz. We don't eat it on Pesach. So when it comes to time you can't eat chametz, you can't eat it. So we can use this matzah shira for the Suda. Now, you asked a very good question. You didn't ask it, but you said it. It's not mitzi. So what's happening? But we know from the halachas in Kriya Suda, we eat a lot of, you ever heard the halach of eating a lot of pizza, and you have to wash a piece of bread, right? So it's becoming a mitzi. So someone mentioned this idea, which seems like an interesting idea, but who wants to eat tons of matzah shira? So if you're eating a lot of egg matzah, and it's really going to fill you up, then it becomes a mitzi. So you could wash, tos yadayim, and you have to eat at least, it comes out to about, what does it come out to? Maybe about 6-7 ounces of it. And it has to fill you up. You have to be full from it. So is that what you want to do? Some people feel that they're very, because they're so particular about the matzah and the chametz, and they don't want it in the house at all. So they're going to fill themselves up with that, and then it becomes a mitzi. But then there's also the rest of the Suda Shabbos you want to eat. You want to eat fish and other stuff. So it's not necessarily so practical. But some people who they absolutely don't want to deal with chametz in their house, that's another option.
So is it one question?
Yeah.
There you go, I'll say it.
So in Crown Heights, it's like what's like the most convenient thing to do? Like I know people go out on their porches or roofs and they eat
To some people will eat it on the porch somewhere else, and then they have to make kiddush there.
okay.
They'll eat it there, and then they'll bench. And then they'll have the rest of the Suda Shabbos somewhere else, the Pesach place. But it's okay, it's fine, but it's not the ideal situation in terms of Suda Shabbos. Suda Shabbos means that you're having challah and fish, everything one Suda, not challah, benching, and then having that. It's not, in terms of Suda Shabbos, it's not ideal. Personally, I find that this works very good. You keep it in bags, it's closed, you keep it somewhere. Just like every Erev Pesach, the house is Pesachnik, and you still have the 10 pieces around. It's in the house, but you keep it closed, you keep it in a safe place. You keep it in a safe place, and you don't give it to little children. So the little children, so the issue is if a child is already 5, 6, and you have to educate him to eat so the Shabbos, how do you deal with it? Okay, so it's a little challenging. So there's ways how to deal with it. But I found that it worked very good. So you could sit in the same place, same room, just sit away from the table, eat it very carefully. It's not so much. It's like it takes 2-3 minutes, eat it up. I clean out the bags. I found, for me, this worked the best. Again, Pita bread. Pita bread is another good option. If you don't want to deal with crumbs, pita bread doesn't have any crumbs. Yeah.
You put it into like a designated block, the area that you sold.
In other words, take the questions, you take the leftover crumbs and put it into the area he's selling to the guy. So that's the issue. If we say that the sale goes into effect right before Shabbos, that becomes an issue.
Okay.
Now, those who want to say something, those who want to know that those who want to say something about that you can even. I was talking to someone yesterday. He was telling me, you know what? There's another way that some of them do, but I don't think it's standard. That the sale of the chametz to the goy goes into effect right away in the morning, and nevertheless, the stores are still selling. How are they selling? How can they selling if it's sold to the guy? The idea is that they're not really stealing from the guy, but they're ready to pay for it. The guy will come to them and ask them for the money, especially in other words, when will the guy come and ask for it? If the guy decides after Pesach to buy back all the chametz, okay, so whatever we took, we'll pay him. It's not really an idea. It's not chatchila. It's a little, you sold to the guy and you're using it. It's not how we do it.
Okay.
So, in any case, the way most Rabbanim do it is that the sale goes into effect before Shabbos. If it goes into effect before Shabbos, then it's already sold, so you can't really add anything to the sale. That's the issue. So take it and put it into your cupboard with all the chametz. It's already sold. It's a joke.
I'm just confused how you could have like chametz in your possession.
Why
when you've
not?
already done all the burning.
No, but okay. Till when could you have chametz? Till when could you do chametz? End of the fourth hour.
Yeah.
But when do you have to destroy the chametz? By the end of the fifth hour. Right. So the custom is we keep the same custom that even this year, Erev Shabbos, we're going to burn the chametz before the end of the fifth hour, right? But the chacham still allows to eat chametz,
Right.
and we can eat till the end of the fourth hour, and we could still destroy whatever chametz we still have. We have till the end of the fifth hour.
Yeah.
So there's no issue. You have chametz in your possession, just like every Erev Pesach. Every Erev Pesach, the house is Pesach, and there's still chametz is the 10 pieces that you're going to burn. You still have it. You're just careful with it. On a regular day, you take it and you burn it. Because it's Shabbos, you can't burn. So you use the toilet. Flushing, by the way, according to halacha, you actually allowed, even on a regular Erev Pesach, if you would take your chametz and flush it down the toilet, that's called destroyed. The reason why we burn it is because we're trying to keep up with an opinion that says that the only way to do it is by burning. So the chatchila, the proper thing is to burn it. Chatchila. But halachically, destroying is not just by burning. So you're doing it the same way like you do every Erev Pesach. You're destroying the chametz before the end of the fifth hour. But this year, because it's Shabbos, you can't make a fire. So instead of burning it, you're flushing it down the toilet. The issue is the bag. So that's what we discussed before, the bag. So
the people eating on their porches, they're doing the crumbling and crumbling.
the reason why they're doing it on the porch because they're not comfortable having chametz too close to the place where it's already Pesach. They're concerned crumbs will fall onto the floor and they already cleaned the house. So everyone has their way of doing things. They don't feel comfortable and people are machmir with a drop of chametz. So you do it on the porch. The porch is also their property.
Yeah.
So what's the logic? Well, they
But if
sweep
they're gonna,
up.
like,
No. If they're doing it on their porch, I assume they're sweeping up afterwards. I don't know what are they getting putting on the porch? They're careful anyways. They're careful not to make crumbs on the porch, but it's more of it. They're just making sure that no crumbs of chametz should mix into the Pesach of food. They want to keep it away from the Pesach of food. That's what it's about. But for sure, they can't leave crumbs on the floor to say leave crumbs in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, according to the letter of the law, as they say, tiny little crumbs that fall on the floor and people stepping on it is destroyed, halachically. But we are careful even with the drop of chametz. But I assume what they do is they make sure nothing should fall on the floor. They want to keep it as far away as possible from the Pesach of food. That's what it is. Now, a more ideal situation is if they have a place to eat outdoors where they could carry, but it's not their property. Now, if someone could find, in other words, let's say someone's living in a place, let's say there's a properator, right? Let's say there's a properator, right? And then you go out there, you go out of your place, you're not in your territory, you're outside in the public domain, and you eat there, that's the best. Then anything that falls on the floor becomes hefker. You're allowed to disown chametz before the end of the 5th hour, then there is no problem. But that's not practical, because there aren't too many places that have a properator.
What about on your roof?
Huh?
On your roof, like
It's your property,
Or even though it's a shared.
has to
space.
be, huh?
If it's like a shared space.
No, shared space, nice. Shared space doesn't help, no, has to be a place that's for everyone.
What about if it's apartment, like if you live in
Apartment building?
Yeah, and.
No. No, apartment that's a public area for the people in the apartment building.
Yeah, but.
So but it's not for everyone in Crown Heights, it's not public for everyone, it's only for the people in that building, that's not called public. That doesn't work, it's the same like leaving chametz in your house. Same thing, Chum don't allow us to rely on nullifying chametz unless it's you're just only in a place that's public for everyone.
Yeah, but the main reason why I'm asking, because when it's house, you have your own, like, the territory of property. But when it's apartment house, like, they don't have any territory, so would people.
Apartment house, it's not just yours,
No, yeah.
in the apartment building,
Apartment without a balcony or something like this.
the
So
space that belongs to everyone in the building, right?
No space, like, just house,
Yeah,
without any space close to this house. Would people eat in the window, so they, window.
Oh, out the window, she said. Apartment.
throw out the window.
You eat it out the window, so crumbs fall on the ground in front of the apartment building, like on a regular.
Whose
street.
space is that? Who's that space belong to?
Like public spaces.
Like the sidewalk, probably.
Yeah.
Right out your window, that's public space? Like the apartment building is right off, let's say Kingston Avenue, I mean, I'm just giving an example, right?
Mhm.
And it falls right down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about carrying for Shabbos?
Let's say it's on the fire escape.
Fire escape is your space. It's the building space. That's a thing. If there's only works if it's a proper item. There's a proper
How
item.
would it-
Hmm?
If you're eating out a window, how is it carrying? How you're walking.
If
with
you're
it.
throwing out from a private domain into a public
Ah.
domain. You know,
It's
transfer from private to public
But from public to public, you're allowed to walk 4 steps.
within 6 feet, you could carry. So you go back and forth 6 feet, what do we do? Yeah,
Another question. So on Shabbos day this year, all the meals are gonna be super early, right?
we daven early this year, exactly, right. Yeah,
Same, thank you, Rabbi.
okay. Keep everything on.
Have a random question.
Yes,
You know, like before we do Hamotzi, like we take our rings off when we wash.
right.
Do you also have to take your rings off for like after the bathrooms?
No, no.
Hi, everybody.